Vinyl.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Scratch the Vinyl. I can't believe it. Well, actually, I can. You guys made it back for another week, and I am pumped that you did. We're the party train is still rolling, everybody. The grassroots movement is still here. And by word of mouth, we are taking over your airways. You guys are even ignoring radio, which don't do that, right? You guys should listen to that too. But you're ignoring radio and you're coming to us because we've got all these awesome guests. And we're going to get into that in a moment. But first, we have my other hosts. I mean, you know who I am. I'm your boy, Cain Stevens. I'm the guy in the, I don't know, Love Dungeon. And I'm just kind of hanging out here with all of my awesome vinyl and my instruments. So next in line, I've got the Big Red Machine. She's not the wrestler from WWE, but I can tell you she's very feisty. Brooke Johnson. Brooke, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. I'm having a great day. It's a little rainy out, my favorite time of year. It lasts what? 2 days? Anyway, doing great.
It's not as cool as fall though, Brooke. I know you love fall as much as I do. Like, I mean, I want those Halloween vibes, you know, like if I could just capture and bottle that feeling around that
Cain,
time, I'd feel fantastic.
we know that you love the pumpkin spice. Pumpkin Spice by Cain Stevens. It's a new
That's the next scent I'm putting out next to a fart scent or something that I
you and my kids. All right.
potty humor right off the bat. And next in line with us is, you know who he is. He is the God of Thunder, the King of Sting, the man, the myth himself. He is Mr. Chill, Randy Wilson. Randy, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing awesome today. How about you guys?
Man, feeling fantastic.
Well, I know why you are, because you got to go to a live show last night. So you're pumped up for today's episode. And that always pumps me up. So I can't wait to hear more about what happened. And glad to see you out there. And
well, I'll just briefly touch on it. I know we got to get our guests on, but so our very own Richard Bretta, the Billy Preston of the group, him and Cole Moore from AMFM invited me to go to a show. And when they asked me, I was of course like a little kid. I was like, do you mean it? Would you really take me? And they're like, yeah, man, we want to hang out with you. So we went to the waiting room. We saw Nada Surf. And dude, it was a blast. And I got to tell you, I got to actually hang out with the opening band. Shout out to those guys. They're called the Clay Ellum, and they're very good. They're also a husband and wife duo, and then they've got a band kind of surrounding them when they play live. But I talked to them for a long time, and we may even get them on the show. Him and I are now friends on Facebook, so if it's Facebook official, I'd say that's pretty good. And then I got to talk to the lead singer of Nada Surf, and it was unbelievable. He gave me singing tips as a singer. You know, I shook his hand. I bought a Nada Surf hat. I was too afraid to ask him to autograph it because, I mean, honestly, I'm going to wear it. So I'm not going to just treasure it always. I'm wearing the damn thing. So anyways, long story short, it was fantastic. I had the time of my life. But now our guests are going to have the time of their life. Once again, we have awesome guests to give you. We're telling you guys every single time, Nebraska is as talented as it gets when it comes to artists. And these guys are no different. So let me bring them on right now. Our guests are from the band Audation. It is Jamin Schrader and his wife, Deborah. I don't think I butchered that too much. You know, his name looks like Jamin, and I think that that's pretty dang cool too. But let's bring him on right now. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Doing good. Excited to be here.
Got more of that pumpkin spice? I could use some right here.
I do everything pumpkin in my life, you know, and even my favorite band is the Smashing Pumpkins. So it's like I really do capture that vibe. I just got to get that big like Michael Myers pumpkin tattoo to stare at and stroke fondly, and then I'll be set.
we could get a new sponsor by Axe Body Spray if they had a new Smashing Pumpkins body spray. I think that'd be like your ultimate sponsor for the show.
I could take it one step further. We could talk to Bryce at Slying Tattoo and figure out like a scratch and sniff tattoo where, you know, like you get this tattoo and then you scratch it for a while and you look like a meth head scratching all the time, but you'll
Scratch and sniff the vinyl.
Well, yeah, scratch and sniff the vinyl. And you look like when you're in like kindergarten and you had those markers and you're smelling like grape. We started at a young age, so I don't think it'd be too awkward. Smells like pumpkin spice on Cain's arm.
Actually, that might explain a lot about Brooke, to be honest with you.
Okay, you're right. But I never ate glue.
I want to talk to you guys. I want to ask you right now. I mean, as a husband and wife duo, I mean, this is like a dream come true to me. I'm trying to groom my kids to be musicians, do the whole White Jackson 5 thing. But you guys are together. I mean, how is that going? When did you start the band? Let's just start from the beginnings of Audation and kind of work our way down.
Okay. Well, I started Audation in 2011 in Iowa, and it's changed a little bit. It was kind of a punk rock version of Linkin Park back then. We had a rapper and did all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, people grow up and go their separate ways. And I've rotated out people in the band a few times. And now I've got my wife playing drums for me. Got a couple other people that are helping out with shows, and but not always. We went on tour in October to Texas, just the two of us. So I played guitar, she played drums, and we did tracks. And that was a learning experience because playing with tracks doesn't necessarily mean that nothing can go wrong.
Isn't that the truth? It's like using a looper, when you're playing a one-man show and you think you've got it down. Like I remember I used to practice with a looper and try to do one-man shows. It's like, sure, nothing could go wrong, right? I've got this all down, and then everything goes wrong.
Make
like
one mistake and you hear it over and over and over.
that happens on Saturday Night Live. A couple people. I mean, that's fun to watch though on YouTube over and over again. You're like, oh, it's like a train wreck. That sucks. Yeah, anything could go wrong. But it could be live though, and then all of a sudden your microphone goes out or something.
That happened too on that tour.
How long have you been playing guitar? And Deborah, we also want to know, how long have you been playing drums?
Well, my first instrument was drums, and that's 27, 28 years. And then guitar, 24, 25 years probably.
Yeah.
And then I kind of started learning drums as a senior in high school for about a year, and then kind of did some other things, and then came back to it in my mid-20s. And then when I first joined Audation, I was actually the bass player. So Jamin actually taught me bass because I just knew a little bit. And then we just had a really hard time keeping a drummer. And so I thought, well, I'm not going anywhere. So maybe I'll give it a try and we'll see how it works. And so here we are.
And she can play drums and sing at the same time, which is pretty unusual. I can't do that.
Can't even walk and talk at the same time. I've tried playing drums. I don't even. My dad said one time, I think the hardest instrument up there for me, it would be the drums, because you're using every single part of your body, and then you're singing. I don't even know how you do it. And the bass thing, like, I know a lot of my guy friends, it's going to seem kind of sexist, but I'm sorry if I'm going to apologize, but they always love a hot bass player. I'm sure there were so many dudes out there just like, oh my God. Yeah, because you're hot. Okay. I just had to get that out there.
I think there's something about a hot drummer. You know what I mean? Like the opening band at the show that we were at, they were the wife was the drummer, and she was a beautiful lady, and she was just up there. And I don't know, it was just, it's not real to me. It's not about how hot they are or this and that, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
But a female though, like, you don't see a lot of female drummers. Like, kudos to you. Good job.
I want to talk about your music. I want to dive into it. I've checked out all your stuff. I've listened. I've watched your promos. The thing that I love, and there's a lot of it, what I feel about what you guys are doing is there's so much emotion behind it. I love the emotion behind your voice and the guitars. I just think that it's all perfect. I like the tone. How have you you seem like a pretty emotional band. Where does the songwriting come from?
From pain. I mean, the secret ingredient to any good art is pain. You should put that on a shirt. I mean, I've struggled with bipolar disorder for a long time. I've spent my share of winters too sad to brush my teeth, too sad to get out of bed. And, you write about that. Audation has kind of become a mission where we try to tell people that they're not alone and that life gets better, and to really just be who you needed when you were younger. I saw that on a t-shirt once. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of emotion, and art's supposed to make you feel something. And if I make you happy, good. If I make you angry, good. If I make you sad, good. You know, if I make you bored, that's not good. That's the only bad one, I think. But yeah, Audation has just been a mission about sharing emotions and letting people know that life can get better. And, you know, even if it doesn't right away, that's okay too.
Well, I think all great music is the connection we have and how it makes you feel. That's what you're doing, and you're getting that message out there. I think that's awesome.
Well, and take it from somebody who's has struggled. I'm very open about struggling with, and I really appreciate you putting it out there. Uh, Struggling with depression. I mean that's the thing is for the people who don't understand it, they ask you why can't you get out of bed? Why is it so bad? They don't even believe you, and that's the hardest part. But I would say as from one sometimes depressed person to another, the music got me through everything, and I think that's it exudes uh it comes bursting out in your music. Like I can see that. I already knew the answer to your question without even asking because I listened to your music. And man, you guys are just killing it. Now, is it the same thing for you, Deborah? I mean, do you have the same struggles? What does music do for you?
I don't have the same struggles necessarily as Jamin, but life has definitely been an adventure already thus far. And so I think sometimes just navigating the twists and turns of life. I also am someone that grew up listening to music and being involved in various ways in music. And so it was something that would motivate me when I'm running a 5K. It would be something that made me not feel alone, maybe when I was feeling very alone. So, I think sometimes just those same connections and just that, yeah, we're real people on this journey of a life. And sometimes the journey of life isn't always what you think it's going to be. And like he said, that's okay because sometimes it ends up better than you thought that it was going to be. So we try to also just have that message of hope, that there is hope. So
one of my favorite things about what we do is that we get to play some shows, you know, in cool, trendy places with other bands where we play short sets of all original music. And that's my favorite thing. I feel like that's why people become musicians. But, you know, the economy is the way that it is. And sometimes you have to play different kinds of shows, playing lots of covers, long sets in bars, you know, because that's what the market is for. That's what they want. And, you know, that pays the bills a little bit. But the best part about those is even after getting up there and playing for 4 hours, you know, sneaking a few of my originals in, people will come up to us after the show, you know, at 1 a.m. while we're packing up, and they'll say, well, hey, thanks for saying that about that thing that you struggled with. And then they'll just tell you their whole story. Like you don't even have to ask for it because they were there. They heard little bits of our life coming out, you know, even though that wasn't the whole thing we were doing. And how many times are you packing up the merch table and people come and tell you all kinds of stuff?
Yeah, because it connects with them. And so that's kind of our goal.
They feel like they have permission to talk about things that are important to them. And I mean, isn't that why we're doing this?
You guys are giving people hope. And this is what I love about music is that we all connect in different ways. We're all very different people, the 5 of us here on this show. I guarantee it. But our commonality here is that, which is the show that we're doing, is all about music. Well, we've got so much action packed to pack into this episode that we actually have to kind of split it up a little bit. So first off, let's start by talking about our benefit this weekend. It is it's Sunday at Kelly's Pub, and it is the Remember the Drumstick Memorial Bash with us at Scratch the Vinyl. We'll have all sorts of things going on, but let's go ahead and run the commercial right now, and then we'll get back to the episode with Jamin and Deborah Schrader from Audation.
Oh man, that was the best. This next gig is gonna be killer. Let's take a quick break and then we'll get back to it. Jerry, what's new? What have you been up to?
I was getting a burger the other day at that place with the golden arches. I was having like a flashback, man. There used to be this place, I think it had like chicken.
Oh, you mean the drumstick?
No, it was like a music venue or something.
Yeah, the drumstick.
No, man, didn't they have like REM or Joan Jett play there?
I'm telling you, my parents used to go there. It's the drumstick.
Man, my brother opened up for like Charlie Burton there.
Dude, we literally watched the documentary about this place. It's the drumstick.
No, man, this was like I think it was owned by the Lohmeyers or something, and this place was awesome.
Yes, at the drumstick.
Man, bro, I don't know why you're getting so upset. I just wish I could remember what the place was called.
It's the drumstick.
The drumstick!
The drumstick.
Bro, you need help, but now that I think about it, I think it might have been the drumstick.
Jerry, I've had it with you. I quit this band. This band sucks.
Oh, well, man. You know what? I'm starting to get hungry anyway. All this talk about food is making me think about eating some chicken. If only I could remember that place we used to go. Sunday, May 25th at Kelly's Pub, the Scratch the Vinyl podcast presents the Remember the Drumstick Memorial Bash. Kathy Lohmeyer of the Remember the Drumstick documentary will be there, raising funds for future projects to do with the drumstick. There'll be live bands, prizes, all sorts of swag, giveaways. It's going to be a blast from Lincoln's past. So come out to Kelly's Pub and remember the drumstick with us.
You know, I would love to talk to you guys about your new release that you're just having come out, or is it released already?
It is. Just came out on the 25th.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about the process behind this particular release, and just let people know, give them a nice little taste without wasting the sauce, you know?
Okay. So the name of the album is No Regrets. That's not the name of any single song. And, you know, I almost regret naming it that because of how many people have messaged me saying it just say no regrets, or, you know, the bad tattoos or this or that. And we've got the cover. You could probably pan to that. The two of us in front of this backdrop. And the idea with that was that, you know, we'd been busted, staying out late, having a party, doing stunts, whatever. But like people can look at that and go, oh man, they got in trouble, but they were having fun. The point of the No Regrets album is that there's a lot of things in life. Oh, there it is. There's a lot of things in life that you do that you regret. You know, we have a song about lost love. We have a song about not being able to fit in, no matter how hard you work or, you know, how nice you are to people. It doesn't matter. People are going to make up their own mind about you. And there's just all these songs on there about how you can't waste your life looking backwards. When I was really depressed, I would just sit alone in my bathtub, dreaming about the past and wishing that I could change it. But rearranging memories doesn't change the past. So we put that in the song Can't Stop Time. Do you have something, Randy?
I do. What I was going to ask was, you know, you've been doing all the songwriting for all your stuff, and what's kind of been your process, over the years?
Well, when I first moved out to Nebraska 10, 11 years ago, I had a couple of people that I was writing music with, and there's a couple songs with their names on them on the album, and I don't want to feel like I'm taking credit away from people, but I moved out here in my early 20s to be a part of something, and people change their mind about what they want to do. People do things for reasons that make sense to them, and I found myself alone. This was before I'd met my wife, with a bunch of half-written songs that I had to make sense of and had to finish. And then we wrote a few more recently too. So there's some songs that are half written from the struggles of 10 years ago. And then there's some that we wrote together over the last couple or 3 years. And then there's a couple that we just finished in the studio. So, if you were to ask me how long it took to write the record No Regrets, I would say 36 years, because that's how old I was when I finished the last one. And it took a lifetime to feel those emotions and to write those stories.
And did you feel like it just kind of poured out of you after, if you know what I mean? Like once you got to a point where you got started, did it feel like it just flowed after that, or kind of,
No.
you know,
That's the dream. You know, you see all this fictionalized idea of depression and how the struggling artist pours out their emotions, and that's a load of crap. It would be really nice if it worked that way, but you know, writing is work. It's worth it. It's fulfilling. I'm so glad I did it, and parts of it were fun, but no, it wasn't like a faucet that you turn on and the rest just come out. All of it was work.
And Deborah, do you have any input? Do you do any of the writing for the band?
Yeah, he usually very often will come up with a melody on guitar or something, and then maybe like an idea of what the song's going to be about. And I'm kind of a picture person, so I usually kind of help with the brainstorming, and just even sometimes he'll play something and it will bring to mind a picture, an image. And so I kind of just start describing that. And even something that we have kind of back in the works, maybe coming out someday, he was just playing it, and I just said, oh, this is what it's making me think of. And he's like, that's exactly what I was thinking. So I'm like, well, it worked. So sometimes I just help with that, or kind of fine tuning some of the lyrics and the words. But I think the unique thing about No Regrets is we didn't set out to make this album. We actually were doing kind of working towards something else, but Jamin's really good at connecting with people and seeing the other unique gifts and talents people have. And so he really has this passion to collaborate. And so he did that with a number of artists that you'll see if you look at the whole album. And so this kind of ended up being a lot of different projects that were like, didn't go on the thing we originally were planning, but they all seemed to go together. So it was kind of a interesting the way that it all came together. But I think that's also what makes it kind of unique.
Well, and also, you know, working with other musicians and everything, but you guys are married. You are one. And it's like Johnny and June, you know. Do you guys maybe, I don't know, you're dynamic.
We prefer John and Corey from Skillet.
Sure, yes, absolutely.
Or maybe the White Stripes. I don't know.
Hey, yeah, I like that. But you guys obviously feed off of each other. Is there one of you that is more of like, okay, we got to calm down, let's do it this way, and one of us more, you know, how do you guys work together as not only a couple? Because a lot of times people say, don't work with your spouse, you know, because you see each other all the time. But is it inspirational? Is it motivational? Is it you guys are each other's rock? Like, how does that dynamic work?
I got the answer for that. And it's that there's as many different emotions and motivations as there are different people. And everyone's good at something different. And I'm really good at some things and I'm pretty bad at some things. And I've been trying to complement my team by bringing in people that are good at different things for me. And one of the things that we found out, Deborah and I working together, is that we care about different things. I would say that I'm very far-sighted. I'm looking to the future. I had the next album almost completely written before this one, but kept finding more songs that made sense for this one, so that gets pushed down the road more. I would say that I'm more obsessed and concerned with what and who and why. Like, who am I? Who's on my team? What are we doing and why are we doing it?
And I am the how person. I'm the logistics. Do we have everything in the trailer? What time are we getting to the venue? Do we have the merch ready to go? You know, keeping track of receipts.
How are we paying for all this?
Making sure, yeah, we've got, you know, money to get, you know, food on the road and gas. And so, and yeah, Jamin is definitely a lot more also just like the charismatic people person, whereas I'm happy to like set up the merch table and have a job or something to do. And I much prefer like that one-on-one connection with people as opposed to the crowd. So that's also why it's great that he's the lead singer and I kind of get to hide behind the drums, and then I run the merch table, which is where you kind of have more of those one-on-one connections. So I think it's been kind of a process of, again, like you said, learning what our strengths and our skills are, and being okay with staying in our lane, and how that together that makes it possible to do what we do.
Are you guys already planning on going out on tour for this album, or What's that look like right now?
The word tour gets thrown around. I feel like people outside of the music industry have this idea where you work really hard on an album and it's done and it's out, and well, touring's the next step. It makes sense to me. That's a good story. The thing is, the work's only just begun. We have to market it. We have to put this in front of people, and people's attention spans are really short. So you've been pumping out the reels and the TikTok videos, finding out what people like, what they don't like, and you got to make it short and sweet, which is hard when you got a bunch of substance on the back end that you want to feed them. But also, like, booking shows is hard right now. The economy is doing things, and people are not wanting to take risks on paying for stuff, and everyone's got to do what makes sense to them to do. But yeah, we'll play as many shows as we can get our hands on.
We're also kind of in the middle of a transition. So we're onboarding a new bass player and guitar player. So part of it is now we're trying to get them to learn all the materials so that we can go out and do that with quality. So
this is a great story because a lot of our listeners really just kind of, there's a lot of aspiring musicians and writers and performers, and you guys give a good insight to what's happening in today's world right now, and understanding the struggles of what it takes to actually put some quality music out, and then worry about, are we ever going to be heard? Is our message really getting out there? And I think this is a good insight to that process. So I appreciate you guys sharing that with us.
Well, and remember this, guys, this is my rule. If you play 2 towns, just 2 different places, you're on a world tour. So, that's the rule in my head. So as soon as you guys, get on the road and go to a couple different places, you're on the world tour. So we will look forward to seeing you. Have you guys played in Lincoln much? Are you guys planning on coming around Lincoln?
We love Lincoln. We've played at Gray's Keg. We've played at, what was the one we were just at? Duffy's. Duffy's is a great place. Oh gosh, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings by forgetting a place that we've played at. 1867. It's a great place. Man, there's a lot of variety going down at 1867. There's something for everybody, and that is a really inclusive space. Yeah, we've played a few places in Lincoln, and it's Highball Bar.
I'm like, there's like so many different kind of quirky places, honestly, even within just kind of the same area that, yeah, it's kind of fun. You can go back to the same street and not the same place.
Yeah.
So
it's hard because we don't have a ton of personal friends in Lincoln, because we live 2 hours away. And then I didn't even grow up in Nebraska at all. I'm from Iowa and she's from California. And so it's not like we have lifelong friends here. So it's a little bit tough to get people to come out to shows. So we don't really take the lead a lot on setting up shows in Lincoln. But if we have friends that are other musicians that are like, hey, we've got this show that we're putting together, we think you'd be a good fit for it because people like that grunge, alternative, emo stuff. We don't leave anything out except maybe country, but there's enough people doing that today. They don't need our help.
That's totally fine with me. 100%. I love what you do. And Randy, we got to get him to Madsen's. We should get him to the yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah. That would be so badass. You have 3 new friends now, all here in Lincoln. We will get you hooked up in some more places.
Yeah. If you want to play out on the middle of the lanes at a bowling center with a wild crowd, we got a venue for you.
It sounds crazy, but it is crazy.
Can we film it? Can we make a music video out of that?
Yes.
They would love that.
I love making things that are a little bit familiar. People are like, oh, I can tell this is supposed to be a music video. I'm ready for that. And then something twists and they're like, oh, they're on the top of a parking garage or, this or that.
That's like the video that you have, with the one it looks like you're in a school gym or whatever. You guys just rocking out in there.
Yep.
Now you're going to be on a bowling alley and then you can be on top of Kelly's, like the Beatles, Well, they weren't on top of Kelly's.
I'm ready. Let's do it. I'll bring my black light.
Awesome. Yes, 100%.
All right, I'll do it right now. Shout out to Sarah Joy and Radio right now. We've got a band that needs to come to Rock and Bowl at Madsen's.
And they're making a music video. What up? Oh, I'd be excited. Can we be in it? Can we be the bowlers?
Sure.
He's always up for extras.
So I'm an includer. It's like my main personality trait. And I always want everyone to be at my birthday party and on my team and working with me. And, not everyone's like that. Sometimes you reach out to somebody and you try to include them. They're like, that's not really my thing. But that's my thing.
Cain, I got the headline right now is Audation on the lanes with the Scratch the Vinyl Bowlers.
It's got to happen. You guys have now met the right.
Scratch and Sniff the Vinyl. Remember?
Scratch and Sniff the Vinyl is probably going to be the title to this.
Or that's the new title to your next album.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll make it a song.
Yeah.
How about a song?
Oh, I love that.
Scratch and Sniff the Vinyl. It's going to be an idea of how you have to really dig deep into your influences to find out who you really are.
All right, let's run the Elegant Sasquatch ad. You know those wacky guys with the crazy bearded gentleman that always smells great. And then we'll go ahead and do the local roundup, tell you guys what's going on, talk about the people, places, and things that keep the lights going and keep things rolling all the time for this great show. And then we'll get back to it once again with our awesome guests from Audation, Jamin and Deborah Schrader.
Welcome to the Late Late Show with your host, Squatch.
Welcome to the show, everybody. We have a controversial guest tonight. He claims to have the world's smelliest beard and doesn't plan to do anything about it in the foreseeable future. Let's bring him on right now. He wants to be brought on by what he goes by on his socials, Toxic Beard 87.
Hey, calm down. Don't hate the smells of itself.
Hello, my toxic friend. Let me ask you something. With brands like the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company, why do you choose to smell like a rotten egg on Easter?
It all started when I was 16 years old. My beard was growing like a forest full of pine trees, and it was time for me to find a delicious scent to make Cindy Jo fall in love with me. I found a beard oil in a store, and I thought for sure she was going to be mine. I caked it on, and I was so proud of the way I smelled and how I looked. As soon as I saw Cindy Jo, I went running over to her, but instead of her embracing me and taking me in, she told me to go away and told me I smelled terrible. It was the worst day of my life. It was right then that I vowed that I would never put another product in my beard again. And so here I am, Toxic Beard Guy 87, and I'm not going anywhere.
Well, if I'd gone through that, it'd been tough for me to show my face again, too. But luckily, there's companies like the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company that have multiple products that'll have girls like Cindy Jo melting in the palm of your hand.
Sasquatch, do you really think that there's a product for me?
Yes, my friend. There are beard balms, beard oils, beard butters, and beard washes that will make your whiskers the talk of the town. You'll be smelling like a dozen roses, and you'll be looking the best you've ever looked.
I would give anything to get Cindy Jo to talk to me just once again. Where can I get this amazing product?
Head on over to elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and find yourself getting lost in the amount of items that they have to offer, including beard boxes as well, with the full line of some of their favorite products.
There's only one thing left to do. I'm going to go over to Etsy right now, and I'm going to buy as much product as I can, and I'm going to find Cindy Jo, and I'm going to win her over. Thanks again, Squatch.
You heard it here, folks. We changed his mind. Next on the show, we'll have a doll with an eating disorder. Then we'll have squirrels riding skateboards. Till then, head on over to Etsy right now. Tell them that the Scratch the Vinyl podcast sent you.
All right, let's get into the local roundup. Lincolnites rejoice and just know that we have so much stuff going on that it's oozing out of us. So let's talk about it right now. That sounded kind of gross, but we'll get into it. All right, so Friday night at Gray's Keg. We love Gray's Keg at 8 p.m. We have our guest from last week, Tim Budick, and the All-Star City Blues Band. They're there at Gray's. They're going to be rocking your socks off. So go over there and say hi to Tim and the gang and tell him you heard him on STV. Give him a pat on the back and say what a great job that Tim did on the show, and then enjoy that band. Let's move on over to the Zoo Bar. The Zoo Bar, Friday and Saturday at 5 p.m. for the early shows. They've got Lil Ed and the Imperials. Then Friday night for the later show at 9 p.m., They've got In the Whale, They Call Me Hero, and Carrier. Saturday night at the Zoo Bar, for the later show at 9 p.m., they've got, I hope I say this right, Black Orphanon. And go see those guys. The Zoo is always an epic place to go. Always good vibes. Duffy's has a show on Sunday night, from what I'm seeing, at 8 p.m. They've got Gentleman Rogues ATX with Jet Set and Eighth Day Broken. That's an 8 p.m. show, so get there, show some love to some of these local bands. Let's head on over south to Rosie's for a second. We haven't talked about them really. So Friday night at 8:30 p.m. they have Acoustic Rooster. That's right, everybody. They are an acoustic duo, and these guys have been around a long time, and I've heard a lot of great things. And I gotta admit, I love an acoustic duo. So go check those guys out, scope it out, and get back to us. You guys can email us at scratchthevinylpodcast@gmail.com. You can get a hold of us on our socials, all the socials everywhere at Scratch the Vinyl, and tell us what you thought of some of these things. Then, of course, everybody at Kelly's Pub. That's right, the legendary Kelly's Pub. Sunday, 2 p.m. STV presents Remember the Drumstick Memorial Bash. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be 2 to 6 and beyond. It's all ages, so bring the kids. It's going to be a great time. Live bands, food, fun, prizes, giveaways, of course, drinks, and it's going to be a blast. So let's go over there and have a good showing for Catherine Lohmeyer and the Lohmeyer gang from the Drumstick. Let's remember the Drumstick properly. So get over there. The whole crew will be there. Get yourself all sorts of swag, STV stuff, stickers, t-shirts, whatever you want, and donate to helping Catherine with her foundation for the Remember the Drumstick, and also for just future events and things that they have going on. So come on out for that. We want to see everybody there, all of Lincoln. Let's change that capacity to at least 100,000 plus, and then some. So we'll see you guys there. Let's talk about our sponsors real quick. Roots Music Shop. Also, we have Sly Ink Tattoo, Bryce. We have Backtrack Records. I'm getting tongue-tied here because I'm just getting so excited thinking about, you know what, I haven't been over there this week yet to check out all that sweet vinyl. So you better get there before I do. I promise you I'm going to buy it all up. And now let's get back to our guest, Jamin and Deborah Schrader from Audation.
Are you a vinyl guy? Do you have a vinyl collection?
We do. I say we, but if you looked at our vinyl collection, you'd be able to tell who's whose.
It's kind of like half and half.
I've got like Van Halen and Toto and Petra and all these 80s like hard rock, power rock stuff with the guitar solos, because that's what my dad liked, so that's what I heard as a kid. And I remember standing by the stereo hearing a guitar solo and thinking to myself, I'm going to do this when I grow up.
And then my half is more what I could find at Goodwill, because they didn't have like actual like good ones. So I've got like Grease soundtrack, Sound of Music soundtrack. I found the Steve Miller Band. That was like exciting. So yeah, you could definitely tell whose is whose.
You could hang out with Cain any day then. Like Cain will go to estate's garage sales just to find old albums.
I was just at one before the show. I hit a couple garage sales after I dropped my kids off, and I was elbowing looking for the vinyl, but it was nowhere to be found. But I can tell you, if it was, I would have picked it up immediately.
Yeah.
You would have scratched and sniffed them, huh?
Oh yeah, I would sniff them for sure.
He literally was. And you know what? Go with him. Don't show up later, because he'll fight you for those.
Yeah, if you're with me, man, it's like I'm fighting for you. Like I'm gonna find you the best album. I'm gonna dig through the dirt, and I'm gonna find the gold for you guys. So maybe I'll come to where you guys are at. How are the Goodwills and estate sales for vinyl?
Not so great, but we actually do have a local record store downtown. And so they actually have it organized. So it's a little bit easier to find what you're looking for if you go there.
It's called Buffalo Records.
Yep.
In Kearney downtown, and you can actually buy Audation CDs there.
Yeah, they also have local musicians stuff, which is great.
If we had vinyl, then they would be selling our vinyl there. But it's making
We're not
vinyl
at that level yet.
making vinyl is expensive, So someday.
Well, we do
Someday.
have sponsors here that if you guys want to push some product in Lincoln, by all means, we could definitely help you get them into those. We have Backtrack Records and now as a sponsor. We have Roots Music that sells music, so I know that they would gladly, put out some CDs and pay you guys as soon as somebody bought them. So,
Sign me up.
Yeah.
The CDs are in the mail already.
right on. Or
I'll
just
email you when we get them.
myself and nobody bought them. I'm sorry. I'll just listen to 10 copies.
Well, guys, I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit. As you know, you're not from Nebraska, so give us a little background of how you got here and what do you think of this slower, backwards pace of the Midwest?
Well, it's not really that much slower or different than Iowa. I grew up in Minnesota, moved to Iowa. My dad got a job there when I was almost a teenager. So I made all my high school friends in Iowa, did the whole garage band thing there. I actually played in a band with my dad. He was my drummer, my first drummer. And we made some weird funk, rock, techno stuff. I don't know. It wasn't very commercialized, but we liked it. And like 5 people liked it. And then I, did the whole metal band thing where I was in a band with a girl singer and hard X-core stuff. And we toured a lot and just kind of ended up in Nebraska. And, I feel like you guys like country a lot more here than Iowa, but that could be just a time thing, not a place thing. No.
I don't want to get like any mad hate mail or anything, but
not to be political, but
yeah, but I appreciate country music. Let me say that. I love the old school country music. Like I was saying, Johnny June, I love that kind of stuff. Rockabilly, I love it. Not a big fan of the new stuff. I'd like I'd rather grunge, rock, that kind of stuff. And I'm not really into R&B much either. I'm sorry, no haters. I'm just saying, I think it just makes me sad.
People get to like what they want to like. People do things and like things for as many different reasons as there are different people.
And that's why it's art. You create what you believe in and love. And that's what it sounds like you guys are doing. I love your inspiration that you have. Just the quotes, your verbiage is amazing. Just I feel inspired just listening to you two. I want to go out and do a huge painting, which then it'll turn out silly, but it'll be art,
And then put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Put a Scratch and Sniff t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh God. Could you imagine 2 vinyls right on the front of your shirt and you have to scratch and sniff it?
Respectfully, may I scratch and sniff?
I would like cream with my pumpkin spice coffee. Here's scratch and sniff. We got creamer. Just kidding. Okay, that was out of control.
Depending on where the scratch and sniff is,
That's what I'm
dangerous for a guy like me.
Oh, I've already pictured where the albums are on this t-shirt.
Yeah, but on men it could be you guys would wear like MC Hammer pants, and I know exactly where they'd be.
Oh my. Well, Deborah, you're from California, right? So what about your experience coming to the Midwest?
Yeah, so my dad grew up in California. They're in Santa Monica, so close to the beach. My mom's originally from Ohio, moved out there. And then we actually moved to Nebraska when I was about in elementary school. So honestly, been here a long time. But my parents my dad had sworn never to live in the Midwest because he had gone back with my mom to Ohio and was like, oh my gosh, what is humidity? This is the worst.
He's also scared of the mob.
Well, there's that. There's a lot of Italians where my mom grew up. Let's just say that. But he ended up in Nebraska because of a job situation and ended up loving it. Like winter, he thought was the best time of the year. And I think we left at just kind of the right time. Like shortly after we left, there was the LA riots and just the neighborhood where we lived really changed a lot. And so I know my mom kind of was glad she was raising, 3 girls here in Nebraska as opposed to there. And, just being able to go outside and play and like not have to worry about being snatched out of your backyard or stuff, and we were, in drought in California when we came here and it's like, oh, everything's green and amazing. But we did move here in October and it was 80 degrees. And then on Halloween, there was a blizzard. So we're like, okay, what have we done?
See, Nebraska struggles with bipolar disorder too.
It totally does. I know. I was just going to say that. I mean, right now, tomorrow it could be blizzarding. And then someday we may even have like a tsunami. We don't know. Nebraska is completely it's crazy. It's bipolar. but it's
Well,
just like
well, what we say is
know.
wait 15 minutes and it'll change. Don't worry,
That's
it
right.
will.
And that's 100% right. Well, it's like the
Never
music
boring.
scene. We got all kinds of people. We have, I mean, grunge. We have country. Yes, there is a lot of country. You can go down the back, and get the radio station that's all it is. And, the farther you get in there, the more country it is. But Lincoln, Omaha, some of our bigger cities, there is a lot of music out here. And I think you guys, your music needs to get more here in Lincoln, please. We need to get you in Lincoln. We were going to sell I want to get your tapes. How old I am.
No regrets. It's a scratch and sniff tape.
Yeah, that is freaking awesome. That should happen.
Who knew that the theme of the whole show was going to be this? Well, now I feel like crap. They're like, man, we got attached to a show, and the title is Scratch and Sniff with Jamin and Deborah from Audation. Like that's wild. But no, man, seriously, I know that this is going by fast. We still want to cover some ground with you guys. We haven't done this in a while, so I want to bring it up. You seem like a lyrics guy. I mean, you post a lot of your lyrics and everything, and they mean something to you. I was just talking to a couple of musicians, and I'm tired of people saying that lyrics mean nothing. Like to me, they are the most. They're as important as the melody of the guitar. They're as important the drums and everything. So, do you have a specific lyric that you've written that every time you think about it, it just really socks you in the gut? Sorry to put you on the spot. I'd love to know.
No, it's just hard to pick one. I'm not a parent. I don't have children, but if I did, I'd probably love them as equally as I love all my lyrics that I've made. And the point is that every lyric you write's got to mean something. Sometimes you sacrifice something a little bit for the rhyme or for the poetic structure of it. But, if you don't have something, valuable or worthwhile to say, then don't say it. Just make an instrumental thing. There's an instrumental song on there because I could say all that I had to say without the lyrics. But yeah, lyrics are important because words and language are just a tool to get an idea out of my head into your head. That's all communication is. If I'm feeling something or thinking something, and then I can use music and words, and if you hear it, now you're thinking and feeling it, or your own version of it. Because I could tell a story and you could think, oh yeah, that's a cool story. But that doesn't add a lot of value to your life unless it makes you think, oh, that reminds me of a story in my life. And that's all life is stories and emotions. And you can put yourself in that and feel something for a minute, then that's the goal.
Well, here's another question for you. Is there a specific song that you've written in the past that you can't even get through because it's so hard? Because I know I have a song about my daughter, like from going through the divorce with her mom and, not being able to see my daughter a lot, blah, blah, blah. There's lyrics in that song that every time I play it, I can't even get through it. Like there's no way I'd ever be able to play it live. There's no way I'd ever be able to record it because I just don't think I could get through the tears. Do you ever have that sort of moment with any song that you have, like that's not released?
That's not released? Yeah. There's a two songs, Always Remember and Take Me, that, gosh, they were supposed to be on this record, but
like I said, detoured.
but enough no regret stuff happened being cohesive that this gets pushed onto the next album. The next album's probably going to be a bunch of sad and hard songs that we just keep putting down the road. Well, eventually we'll get to them. But Always Remember is a song about a friend of mine who took his own life and how I'm always going to try to remember the good times and not only be sad when he's gone. And then it's going to flow right into the song Take Me, which is a song about blaming myself for not being a better friend and just finding myself at the bottom of a bunch of just a mountain of emotions that you can't handle and trying to get through today so that hopefully a better tomorrow will be there. And we haven't recorded it yet, but we've played it live a few times, and there's sometimes I can't get through it because it's not an act. It's real art is something that touches you from the inside. And it's sometimes stories are hard to hear. Sometimes stories are hard to tell, but they're still important.
So I have a question then, and for anybody. So I'm not technically a musician, but I appreciate the music and I've tried, I play a little bit here and there. But you say lyrics, they are very important. But if you took took those lyrics and put it to your band, that's why lyrics are so important. But is that like the melody and the music and the sound and all of the vibrations? Do you think that there's like I don't know, something in our DNA or something that we have that we create that music because we have those country singers, not just because you live in Texas or in, wherever, but why do you think that you chose this kind of music rather than like that scientific DNA? I've always wondered that, like why not take those lyrics and go to country, but it doesn't touch you the same way as it would if it was rock. You know what I'm saying?
Some country songs can touch you the same. I graduated in 2006, so I was the right age to feel things when I heard Rascal Flatts. And more importantly, I liked girls who felt things when they heard Rascal Flatts, so I gave them a chance. And there's going to be people replying to this video that Rascal Flatts isn't real country. So there's that. But, emo country, whatever. I feel like different genres can also tell stories. But to answer why I chose what I did, my dad was an 80s rocker. I grew up on guitar solos while other people grew up on country or show tunes or whatever. And then 2006, there was a lot of emo, there was a lot of screaming stuff. My Chemical Romance was really big for people my age. And, I don't like the same stuff my dad did. Obviously, I like lots of stuff that's way harder, but it's about finding a story and an emotion, which is really the two parts of art, and making them make sense together. Because sometimes you have a sound and a message that don't quite line up with each other, and you can still enjoy that, but that's a harder thing to make sense for people.
Well, it's kind of like when people take a song like Gin and Juice, and we have, what was the country guy? Wasn't there a country guy? It was like, sipping on gin and juice, laid back, but it was actually a rap. And I like how people can do that too, is change the song so it can kind of relate to different people in different ways. And
or like when Johnny Cash did the cover of Nine Inch Nails' Hurt.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that think that he wrote the song because he did so well on it, but it's really telling the same story for hugely different audiences.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of different people, audiences, everything, Deborah, as a female musician, I know it's not so, it's out there more, but being a female drummer, do you get treated different, or do people really like, oh my God, and like you're just like swarmed by like men everywhere and women? They're just like, oh my God, I love you. Because you don't see a lot of women drummers. And I think that's badass. Like, how do you feel when you're up there, and like, how do people treat you? Is it different, or?
Yeah, it can really depend sometimes on the venue and the type of people there. So, every once in a while you'll kind of get the hey girl, or do a drum solo thing. And I'm like, hey, we're taking a break, give us 5 minutes, we'll be back. And then you have some people that, maybe we're in a different part and they heard it, and then they come and they see that it's a girl playing and they're like, oh, that's cool. So it definitely can sometimes be a mixed bag, but overall it's pretty positive. I think even just because I am able to sing and play at the same time, and not everybody can do that. But that also gives me kind of another advantage that way. But yeah, for like inspiration growing up, my parents were into 60s rock, Santana, Janis Joplin, that kind of thing. And so then I really liked Skillet, which was like the first time I saw females that could rock, and drumming and playing and all that. So it's like, okay, that is cool. It's possible. So yeah.
They really like it when you bring the cowbell out too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
They
God.
like the cowbell.
Oh, you should have a video of the cowbell.
We've had a few. Just look us up on TikTok. Start scrolling. We did a whole
I would love.
cowbell series.
I want to see it. We could be on the bowling lanes. Even I'll do a cowbell. I even have my.
Done. Sold.
Let's do it.
I'll pay you in t-shirts.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, why don't you guys share with us, what your socials are? How can people find you out there on the internet and in the music world?
Okay. If you go to audationrocks.com, that's our website. It's not the flashiest, but it has links to everything on there. We're on Facebook and YouTube.
Whatever the new things are,
What all the
Instagram,
new things are. I go
not
through
really
this
Twitter.
every day
What
when I
is
make
it? X,
videos.
Blue Sky, I don't even-
TikTok, Lemonade, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, Skylight, Threads, Twitter. I'm not calling it X.
I love that you have to get your phone out. I do the same thing. I'm like, the social media stuff. All platforms. I learned
My brain is
Cain
full
and
of more
Randy.
important things than every place you can find us. But you can find us every
Pretty much
place.
every place. Spotify,
Awesome.
yeah, iTunes. all the-
The new album isn't out on Apple Music
Oh.
yet. I'm gonna have to make an email to our distributors. They're logging behind. But we're on Spotify and YouTube. Those are the big ones, right?
Do you guys have any big shows coming up in the next month or so?
Yeah, we're putting together a CD release party, which is kind of an outdated thing to say because do people still buy CDs?
But
I'm-
it's fun. It's
I
fun to
hope
do
they
anyway.
do.
Yes,
I just
they
wrote
do.
this down. They do?
They do. Yep, they do.
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah.
I should make a scratch and sniff CD. It's going to be Saturday, May 4th in Riverdale, just a little community just northwest of Kearney. We're going to be featuring our friends Calling Connecticut. They're going to be there with us. And it's going to be their first show in like 10 years. So they are working on their own album right now. And we're going to be excited to help pull them out of retirement.
And where is it at in Riverdale?
It's going to be at Jake's house in Riverdale.
This is
I know
actually an
Jake. I
old
love his
school
house.
building.
Oh.
It's the old school building. Do you think,
And what is his social security number, his phone number? And no.
Hey, everybody in Riverdale
Jake.
knows Jake. It's okay.
Yeah, Jake. You
it's
could
Jake.
just go to the
Jake's
gas station.
house. Jake's
Go to
house.
Jake's
The
house.
big parking lot and the batting cages because it used to be a school. Yeah. Saturday, May 24th at Jake's house in Riverdale.
We definitely
You guys,
get them.
yeah, you guys, this has been a blast. Unfortunately, always time flies, and we try to get as much out as we can. But and seriously, any of these events you got coming up, we'd love to promote on our page, and we totally appreciate your time today and coming and sharing your story. And man, we're just impressed with what you've put out. We'd love to get more people to go see your shows and definitely get you here in Lincoln so we could check it out ourselves.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being on the show. You're now part of the Scratch the Vinyl fold, the Scratch and Sniff family. We'll start calling it. I love that. And you guys have been amazing guests, but like all great things, this good thing or great thing has to come to an end. So for all of our listeners out there, thank you guys for tuning in. I want you guys to check out Audation and blow up their socials and tell them how great they are because I feel that they're fantastic and I think you will too. So thank you guys for listening to the show. Tune in next week for another awesome episode of
Scratch the Vinyl.
Yeah.